Hello everybody, I hope you're all staying safe and well. In today's video, I'm doing a reading vlog for dragon themed fantasy books. So the highly anticipated Fourth Wing book, the also highly spoke about Fear the Flames book, and the good old classic The Hobbit. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and let's get into it. I just read the first chapter. Of Fourth Wing. And it's giving Divergent, with the kids falling off of the the parapet, kind of like what they had to cross in Dauntless, and them having to choose to be like scribes or writers or whatever. Like they had to choose their factions in Divergent. So if that's the vibe this book is gonna have, then I'll be loving it, because like, hello, Divergent was my moment. So yeah, it's also giving Shadow and Bone again, because they have like the conscription and the war and the magical creatures and like whatever. It's very much giving Shadow and Bone. So yeah, Shadow and Bone and Divergent is the vibe I'm getting right now. So love that. And yeah, hopefully I'll read a lot this long weekend. I'm intimidated because this book is huge. It's like 500 pages, but it's also very tall, but we'll see. We shall see. I think starting it on a long weekend is the way to go. So yeah, first thoughts, chapter 1. You guys, I got to a little over 200 pages in Fourth Wing, and I have been literally panting, squealing, screaming, out of breath. Like, I've just been having so many visceral reactions. I'm literally loving it. I would continue and binge the book tonight, but it's getting late and I know I have a long weekend, so I don't think it'll take me the full long weekend, though I wouldn't be surprised if I finish it tomorrow and just binge the last like 300 pages, because I'm just loving it so much and I'm having so many visceral reactions and I just love them so much. Like at first it was, and even still, but like at first especially, it was giving such heavy Divergent vibes, and I loved Divergent so much. And like Xaden is like very much kind of giving for how he was like cold and kind of like one of the instructors there and had like a position of like power when she got there and she joined the faction. Like it's very much giving that with her and him in this book, and I'm just loving it. I could so see this being turned into an adaptation like Divergent, and I would love that. And yeah, the beginning also kind of had like Shadow and Bone vibes. Now the past few chapters we got heavier into the dragon stuff, which only a few chapters of that have happened thus far, but it's very cool thus far. And yeah, I'm just like squealing and I'm obsessed. Like this is definitely being added to one of my best books of the year, because it's just like, it's just had me completely enraptured since I started it. And yeah, I'm so excited to keep reading it. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I need to stop reading it now and be like, okay, I'll pick it back up tomorrow, you know, because if I keep reading it, then I'll probably just keep reading and keep reading and keep reading. But yeah, it's so good, so stunning. I don't think it's overhyped at all. That was something I was nervous about, but so far it has definitely lived up to the hype, and I'm loving it. So yeah. Y'all, minutes ago I finished Fourth Wing, and if I could give this book 1,000,000 stars, I would. I was squealing, screaming, panting, flailing, just all of the above. The last book that gave me the feelings this book gave me was Red Queen, which is one of my all-time favorite books. This book was Red Queen meets Shadow and Bone meets Divergent. Like, it was just so fucking good. Like, it took my favorite elements from all of these like great books and just like meshed it into a masterpiece. And it's an adult book with like 23-year-old main characters for once, which makes it so much more enjoyable to read as a 24-year-old. Like, if you grew up with Divergent, with Shadow and Bone, with Red Queen, and you loved those, then this is your vibe. This is for you. This is for all the Divergent girlies who grew up. This is for all the Red Queen stans. This is for the Shadow and Bone babes. Like, it's so freaking good. Like, oh my gosh, so freaking good. I'm so in love with Xaden. Even if you like the Cruel Prince books, I think you would like this. Like, there's a very heavy politics element to it that very much started to remind me of the politics and world setup and moral questions in Red Queen. But I think it's gonna be done better in this series, maybe. I don't know. I can't say, because Red Queen book 1 was stunning too. And then like the last book I felt like wasn't as good. So I don't know. I can't tell from just one book. But this was so stunning. Like, so stunning. So freaking stunning. Xaden is just a wonderful character. He's giving 4 from Divergent, where like he's like cold at first and he's at this high rank and he acts like cold towards her, but he's actually like obsessed with her, in love with her, like screaming, crying, throwing up, squealing, like and yeah, but he's like the best of the best. And he's also giving the Darkling, but make him not like a maniac, because he like wields shadows, and I love male love interests who wield shadows. Like, they just always have some sort of like energy vibe about them that's just intoxicating. Like the main love interest in The Shadows Between Us, who wielded shadows. Vibes, stunning, love that. The Darkling, a maniac, but the shadow stuff was pretty cool. So having like a main love interest who can wield shadows and do it so coolly, like, oh my gosh, I'm in love. Like, Xaden is like what I wish the Darkling was. Like, if like, I wanted to root for the Darkling so bad. I was like, if he had just not gone there, just not gone to the extents that he went, like if he had just like not gone just, you know, totally off the rails with it, then like he could have been, you know, He could have been it. And so like Xaden is like that, like if the Darkling didn't go off the rails. Because the potential was there, like he was a Grisha, the Grisha were hunted. It's the same thing in this book, like Xaden and everyone who's children of the rebellion, parents who were slaughtered, all of them are like marked to show that they're children of these people and are punished for that. So like it's very much giving kind of like the Grisha being hunted, as well as the divergent people being hunted and divergent for being different, as well as the Reds being abused by the Silvers and Red Queen. Like it's very much giving that, but he's still like looking out for all these people and actually like taking so many people under his wing and actually like helping people and like not going egotistical because of it. Like there's a very thin line that can be crossed there when like someone's just, you know, like it's like a villain origin story. Like there's a very thin line that can be crossed there where like someone who's been hunted and just like had all these horrible things to them can just quickly like have a lot of reason to just like go off the edge and just like fly off the rails. But Xaden was actually like helping a lot of people and like sure came off as like an ass, but actually was like so stunning. Like I can't, I'm in love with him. I really like the main character. I like that she basically deals with what seems to be the equivalent of like chronic pain, and it deals with like the like ableism that she faces in this like twisted world they live in, where people are quite literally trying to kill her because they have this warped, dangerous idea that the weak should be taken out to like not slow down everyone else. And like I love that she just like commits to like, I don't even know how to describe it, but she's just very cool, like very, like you just really have to commend her. Like people talk about, like she talks about how in her narration she talks about how she probably is in some ways the best suited, the most resilient in these like war trainings and to survive in this like war setting, because she lives with pain every day that like everyone else doesn't. And like it's just like wow. Like so yeah, my hair is getting caught on my nails, but so like love that about her. Like she was very strong in ways that others might not see. Oh my gosh. And then the ending, there's a few twists in the last like eighth of the book, and the twist that happens literally in like the last line of the book I saw coming, but that's because Red Queen prepared me for it. Like I'm a Red Queen girly. I can see those plots coming a mile away. Like I stay ready and waiting and hoping for those plot twists. So I'm not mad at seeing that coming at all. Like I was squealing, tossing my book around. I was so fucking happy with that ending twist. Like I was waiting for it. I was really waiting for it. So yeah, that was gorgeous. And yeah, this book honestly also like reminds me of stories I used to come up with. Like when I was a little girl, a little kitty, I had like such bad insomnia. Like I could not sleep at night, and every night I would come up with these elaborate stories before bed to like just occupy my mind or help me fall asleep. And I would come up with all these high stakes like stories in my mind about like, and a lot of them were like enemies to lovers, or like Romeo and Juliet, like star-crossed lovers things, where like they'd be in opposite like groups and they'd be like at war with each other or something, and they'd be like sneaking to each other's bases and like trying to steal stuff from each other's bases, and then they'd catch each other, but like plot twist, it would be their like lover, and like I would come up with the most elaborate stories when I was a kid. And several of them I feel like basically happened in this book. Like, stunning. Stunning. It made me so happy. So yeah, this book is great. If you're like me, if you're into the tropes I'm into, if you're into the themes I'm into, all that, then like this book is a fucking masterpiece. And again, I love the like political themes in this book too, because it was very much giving Red Queen. Like their society is like very corrupt and very much terrible in how they're treating these like marked kids for their parents supposedly not being loyal, and like it's just very disgusting to see how these kids are being treated. And it really just has like real world like implications. So yeah, this book is a fucking masterpiece. I'm so fucking happy. The last time I felt this like crazy about a book, I feel like was when I reread Red Queen. Like, it's really just that good. But yeah, and I love that like the actual story is so good too. Like I was simping for Xaden from the first time he was introduced, and I feel like I could picture him in my head too, which that's another thing. Like I can't always picture books, but like this book I felt like I was really like picturing it like playing out in my head, which again is probably because it's like scenarios and stories that basically are like what I used to make up as a kid when I would make up my little stories before bed. So that's probably why I had such ease like picturing Xaden. But yeah, it was just like I could just like picture it, which made it be so good too. And yeah, oh my gosh, it was just so fucking good. I can't wait for this sequel to come out. I think it's coming out in November, so that's only in like 2 months, maybe like 2.5. So I'm actually so excited because I'll probably still remember a good deal about this when the second book comes out, and then I can gobble it up real quick. So I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, it was just so good. So stinking freaking good. Like, oh my gosh, I cannot. So yeah, finished 4th Lane. It is 100% definitely worth the hype. It was not overhyped. Yeah. And I love that the plot was so good besides the romance too. Like that premise of the book is actually so good, which again, the last time I felt this strongly about a book, I feel like it was the premise of Red Queen, book 1. So yeah, just stunning, immaculate, gorgeous. So yeah. Okay, y'all, so I'm in my Dragon Books era. So since finishing Fourth Wing last night, today I finished The Hobbit. On audio. I've been reading reading this for a while, so I finished it today while I was still in a dragony mood, and it was fun. All of Tolkien's works are different than what I usually read, because I usually read things with very strong romance subplots, and there's none of that in, you know, The Hobbit or The Silmarillion. But it was good. It was a good story. It makes me want to rewatch the movie. It also makes me want to rewatch like the main Lord of the Rings movies. The beginning I really enjoyed, and the like last fourth I really enjoyed. Whenever Smaug showed up, the voice that the narrator did for Smaug was like so creepy and cool. And then I really liked the ending, really liked how you could really see how it was like a journey of self-discovery and of adventure by the end. So I was like, aw, like it was quite the sweet moment. We get to see Bilbo's growth, and yeah, so I really enjoyed that. Kind of just listened to it while doing my Sunday activities, and then I started Fear the Flames, which is the next huge book that people say is like Fourth Wing. A lot of people either love Fourth Wing or Fear the Flames, but I've seen some people say that they actually loved both. So I started it a couple hours ago, maybe. I'm only 46 pages in, but so far I like it. The first couple of chapters, I think it was like a little strange. Like the first chapter I felt like was rather like info dumpy, and I was like, wait, what? But then it started to get better. Also, Caden, I can't, because his name rhymes with Xaden from Fourth Wing, so it's like, dang, they're just naming all the dragon book heartthrobs with some sort of Aiden in their names, apparently. Also, there's some character, there's Finian, and then there's some character with a G name, and it's like this same Garrick, and Garrick is a character in Fourth Wing too, I'm pretty sure. So like right off the bat, I'm like, the names have me kind of tripping, because I'm like, wait, what are these Fourth Wing characters? The main character, I can't like not compare it to Fourth Wing, unfortunately, since I just read it. So I will say the main character is very different. Like this main character is like a long lost princess. It's giving Tangled, but make it aggressive. It's giving Snow White, because like she's a princess, but her father locked her away because he's scared of her bonds with these dragons. So kind of like how the Wicked Witch was with Snow White. Like it's giving that they're scared of her power, and she's been in hiding, thieving, and like ruling this other group of people. So she's very much like powerful and like kind of arrogant and very fiery and has a lot of fight to her. So she's kind of like the opposite of the main character in Fourth Wing, only because she was like physically had a lot of ailments and had trained to be a scribe and hadn't planned on like going into battle and fighting and becoming a writer. She was kind of just forced into that unexpectedly by her mother. So like completely different main characters. So I find her likable too. What's her name? Eowyn or Atara? Eowyn, yeah, it is Eowyn. So I do like her, not as much as the main character from Fourth Wing yet. Like I feel like I liked the main character from Fourth Wing like right away. She was just very likable, whereas I don't know, Eowyn's coming off as a bit arrogant. I don't know. Like Caden is also like arrogant though, so like they're a good match. But I think I'm gonna fall in love with Caden. because he's the book boyfriend of a lot of people who have the same book boyfriends as me. So we'll see. I really can't say too much, only 40 pages in. This is almost a 600-page book, which is so intimidating to me. But Fourth Wing was 500 pages and was taller than this, so probably would be 600 pages if it was a paperback. So if I could breeze through that, I can breeze through this. But I will say I'm not feeling the like urge to like keep reading like this the way I was with Fourth Wing. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm only 40 pages in. That could change, and I think I'm still gonna read a good deal tonight. And it's also that time of the month, so usually I get a lot of reading done during this time, whether that's gonna be this or some of the romance books that I have to finish. We shall see. But yeah, Xaden, not Xaden from Fourth Wing. Caden, he has a big scar on his face apparently, and one thing I usually stan and love is a main male love interest with a scar. So slay, love that. Which reminds me of Xaden's signet that covers his whole back. I'm in love and distracted by Xaden right now from Fourth Wing. But anyways, I'm excited to see the rest of the characters that I read about on the back that are going to participate in this heist. And I think we're about to be introduced to them. So slay, can't wait for that. And I'm interested to see if I'm gonna like this as like a heist book, because Six of Crows is a super popular heist book, and I only got 50% through with it before I DNF'd, and I still haven't picked it back up, though I want to. But like it was too slow paced for me. So I don't know. Hopefully I like this one. I don't know if that sets a precedent for how I feel about heist books or what. But yeah, started her and I'm excited. I am liking it. They do have some good chemistry. Both seem to be very morally gray. At least our main character definitely is, but she thinks that he is too. So cool. But yeah. Update number 1. Okay, I'm a little more than halfway through with Fear the Flames, and I'm loving it. The main character is actually very relatable. She was very isolated growing up. Her parents sort of locked her away because they were scared. She was of her power with her bond to the dragons. And I always relate to an isolated character, any characters who are like isolated growing up, I have to have a soft spot for, like Juliet and Shatter Me, etc. So like I relate and really feel for her in that regard. She really has to deal with like opening up for the first time and relying on someone else for the first time, which is also relatable. Her and Caden are super cute. They have like a really cute, cheeky dynamic with each other, which is super fun. Kind of reminds me of like Iris and Declan in Terms and Conditions. So love that. Caden's reaction to her was kind of very insta-loving, which I didn't love because like I like there to be a build-up, a slow burn, some tension, some like a long progression. Like I'm not as much a fan of characters just, you know, being like love at first sight, which is basically what it is with Caden. Like he just kind of loves her and decides he's gonna protect her at all costs from like the first moment he meets her, which is like kind of crazy. So like not my favorite trope there, but their dynamic and like the cheeky way they talk to each other and whatever is very cute. There's a lot of stunning quotes. I've been underlining a bunch. Elowen definitely has a lot of like feminine rage, so love that. Love characters like that. She wants vengeance, and she, you know, refers back to how she was the only thing that got her through, basically by like sheer power of will, for all that time where she was like tucked away. So I'm like, slay, like yes girl. So I love her for that. some of the dialogue between her and Caden is cringy, but also a lot of it is cute. So yeah, I remember I got to page like 172 and there was something that made me squeal. Let me see, it said, actually, Elwyn, I think I'm the only man that can handle whatever you throw at him and happily take it. And then she thinks this may be our dynamic, who can push the other one more. Something nobody has ever been able to fully do, but neither of us backs down from a challenge. We chase challenges. So, yeah, it started to get good. There was a part where they were separated for a little bit and they wrote letters, and that was super cute. I love a good like romantic letter correspondence in books. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it thus far. There's definitely like a bigger connection that we haven't tapped into yet with like the dragon. She has some like amulet and was seeing visions and fire, and she's definitely very like connected and powerful there. So there's like a bigger fantasy element I think we're going to get into. But yeah, so far really enjoying. So yeah. Okay, I have maybe like 220 pages left. I just got to part 3. And this last section I read was intense, like crazy intense. They found one of her abusers who abused, beat, and assaulted her when she was a kid. And like definitely trigger warning for this book. Like definitely look at the trigger warnings before reading, because what she recalls that this man did to her when she was a kid was incredibly disturbing, like incredibly disturbing and so disgusting. Like it got very intense and dark very quick. But she gets like revenge on this man, which I'm surprised we never really like she had memories of the stuff that happened, but we never got like really flashbacks to this particular man till they caught him. So it's not like something you're like trying to, it's not like you're wondering who this man is as the book's going on. The person who beat her, like she doesn't like realize, she doesn't like recall certain stuff or like take you through certain stuff till she sees this man again. So it's not really like a spoilery thing, but it was just like very intense. And then they like catch this man and she starts torturing him. And I've never seen a main character girl torture a man like this book. Like this was intense, and like he deserved every second of it because he was disgusting. But I've never seen that written in a female main character before like that. So I kind of love that, because I love the feminine rage, and I love that she really enacted her revenge and like took vengeance. Like it's just so different than anything I've ever seen depicted before for a female character. Like we see the male love interest go off, go crazy, like kind of be ruthless, but we never see that from the female main characters. So like that was incredibly intense. It took a very dark turn very quickly, and I really wasn't expecting that from how like cheeky and flirty and kind of cringy some of the other dialogue has been in the book. But like that torture scene was intense, and it went on for like quite a few pages, and that was like just like nothing I've ever read before for a female main character. So that was really something. I kind of love that she is so ruthless. Like it's just so different. And yeah, I love to see a strong main female character, so that was just really something. I also think it shows how her and Caden are such a match because they're both ruthless and want vengeance, and it's not like he's holding her back. Like in Red Queen, for example, we have a very like unhinged, like wanting vengeance main female main character, but one of her love interests, Cal, is like holding her back. Like every time she taps into her power more and is more like ruthless with it, he's like, you're changing, like this isn't you, like da 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 da. And so I think I've never seen a love interest who wasn't the villain but who was actually the main love interest, who like just completely accepted and respected and matched the main female main character, just unleashing like unhinged rage like that. Like it's really something. So that's something that this book has done very uniquely, and I really wasn't expecting that from the first 2 parts of the book, so I was like shocked, honestly. But it's very good, like it's really something. So yeah, that shook me so much I had to talk about it. Also, there was like a brothel scene between her and Caden, which got very hot and very steamy very quickly, which I also wasn't expecting, because like from their like playful vibe, like I just did not expect things to get that intense. So that was pretty interesting. And overall, Caden is very much giving me like dark romance love interest. Like he's very overprotective, very like violent to anyone who's like anytime he can tell she's uncomfortable, he'll be like, what did you say to her? Like, you made her uncomfortable, I can tell, like da 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 da. And it's very like dark romance, like dark romance books, overprotective, like that type of love interest, which is interesting. And again, just kind of like different than something I usually see in fantasy. So yeah, just very different. Give me your recommendations if you have any for books where the love interest is like a dark romance, like mafia romance type love interest, but in fantasy books. And also give me your recommendations for unhinged, feminine rage, female main character books, because yeah, that really shook me. Like I'm so shook right now. So yeah, that's kind of crazy, kind of where I'm at. I just got to part 3, which is the heist. So yeah, but yeah, very interesting. Okay, I did it. I finished Fear the Flames, and it was really good. I don't know how I feel about the betrayals that come up. There's a couple of them towards the end of the book, and one of them I feel like I saw coming, and I never really trusted the character. So I was kind of like, okay, yeah, when they did that. But the other one, I don't know how I feel about it. Like on one hand, I'm like, was it that big of a thing? And then on the other hand, I'm like, maybe it is kind of a bigger thing than I'm thinking of, and maybe it played into some other vibes throughout the book. So I don't know. I do think the main character, she is very relatable in that like she, you know, has a lot of feminine rage and stuff. But I will say some of her dialogue, some of her inner dialogue is very repetitive. It's like the same thing over and over again. It's like, oh, Caden did this for me. Oh, he did that for me. Like, which I guess is like realistic. Like that's how it is in real life. Sometimes you just can't believe that people really like you and like, you know, so maybe it's realistic. But it was just kind of repetitive, and some of it was just like cringy and just overkill, I felt like. And then at the end of the book too, like there's this big thing that happens with her and her bond, and I don't know, it it was very mystical, and I think I'm not in a super like mystical mood. I think I'm in the mood for more like politics-based fantasies than like mystical based ones, and this one has a lot of like mysticalness with her bond to the dragons is very like mystical and has to do with like a prophecy and stuff. So I feel like the ending revelation with the bond was just kind of like, I don't know, it seems like, I don't know, it was just a lot. And yeah, I'm not like super into it thus far, like that particular part of the story, the more mystical bond element there yet. So I don't know. It was a really good book. I did underline a lot. They were cute. The second half of the book got very like gruesome, very gory, very bloody. A lot of people they like killed, and yeah, it was like very gruesome. Like Fourth Wing, so many characters died in Fourth Wing, but like it honestly wasn't as gruesome as I thought it was gonna be. Whereas this, like the first half of the book, I feel like wasn't like really like that, and then the second half of the book, I felt like they were killing a bunch of people like very gruesomely, and the like dynamic between the two of them turned very like smutty very quick, and like it was all just very like, I was kind of like, whoa, like where did this come from? So like the first half versus the second half of the book, I feel like was very different vibes. And then lastly, this book is huge. Like I feel like it just didn't need to be this long. Like I feel like there's a lot that could have been cut out. It did seem rather info dumpy at times. So yeah, that kind of wraps up some of my final thoughts on it. I did really enjoy it. Did think it's a really good book. And yeah, it kind of matches my bed. So that concludes my dragons reading vlog. Fourth Wing is still on top as my favorite. This was a really good one too though, and The Hobbit was really fun as well. So definitely enjoyed this dragon books reading vlog. Leave me your recommendations for any dragon themed fantasy books in the comments down below. Sharing is caring. I'd let you know, so let me know if you have some recs, pretty please. And if you've read either of these, let me know your thoughts. I'm very curious. And yeah, hope you're all staying safe and well, and I hope to see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Bye.